Welcome back, people. This video series is about building the 2-inch Phoenix dual deployment rocket. It is named WTP for Wee Tiny Phoenix, so WTP for short. This will be a many-part series using a little magic and a little real magic of a 3D printer and a CNC router along with a sander and an electrically powered hacksaw to cut the tubes. Included in the description are the 3D files and the router files if you wish to print your own. Enjoy and like, thank you.
Hello peeps and welcome to the channel. What are we going to do today? It has to be interesting, and it has to be about rockets. Yes indeed, it has got to be something rockety. I think we will build the 2-inch version of the Phoenix, so what is its name going to be? Little Phoenix, Tiny Phoenix, Micro Phoenix. It's not that small, so I would just call it a wee small Phoenix, but it will be the 2-inch dual deploy version of the original Phoenix. What do we need to build it with? I have been watching Bewitched with Elizabeth Montgomery, and she can twitch her nose and conjure up something just out of thin air. That it would be nice now, wouldn't it? He is not a warlock, but he will give it a try, and see what happens.
So there we have the fin assembly. Is that going to work? I don't know. As a matter of fact, I don't think so, because this is not long as the engine is. However, this is a fairly good, effort. Got some fruit flies in here driving me crazy. I'm gonna wiggle my nose and make them vanish. Yeah, we'll send that back. So let's try the stub assembly and see if we can get that right. Yep, here we go. Boom. Well, that looks good, but again, it's not as long as the engine casing for the 2-inch rocket PVC motor. Rotary rocketry's design. No, we'll just have to send that back. Roll, I forget, give up on that. We're gonna need 3 fins, kind of like the Big Bertha style. Make them appear, and there they are. Wow. Even with the word Phoenix on them. And a Texas star? I don't know. Could be. Could be a Phoenix star. Alright. So we got those things. We'll keep them there because we're going to keep them. The other thing we need is some body tubes. So there will be 3 pieces that we need. Short piece for the nose cone, so we'll do that one now. Nose cone section, still fighting fruit flies. Alright, so that's the 2-inch tube that hopefully when I conjure up the nose cone will fit inside of it. I'll put him right there. Let's see if we can get a nose cone to appear. Well, hot dang, look at there. There is a nose cone. It looks like instead of it magically appearing, it has been 3D printedly appearing. Let me get that off right quick. See if it fits in the tube. Hopefully it will. Oh yeah, yeah, that's gonna work. Got a connection point here for the parachute. That nice big strong bar. And we'll have to have something at the bottom of this to close it off. Okay, that looks like a interface between the lower tube and the upper tube. Well, we know that fits. Now we'll do the, let's do the lower tube next. And there's the lower tube, the longer one, just the stock length that it comes in. And I left this in it as a motor stop. Okay, this will be the motor stop, glued in so the motor can press on it instead of going up through it. So we got that. Let's do the upper section. I did the mid section. This is actually the mid section. Okay, this would fit on this. This will become the eBay where the flight computer is mounted. So we got that. This will have to be tightened up just a little bit. And this has got the bar in it as well. Okay. So this would be the next stack, the middle of it, where it is ejected. All right. And then we have the top piece, which we're going to need another one of these things mounted upside down in it. And when it's mounted upside down, we're going to need a body tube for the parachute. So let's make it, now there it is. Wow. Okay, so that's like, I don't know, 12 inches, something like that. And this will fit over this, like that. This will be where the flight computer is. And the ejection charge will be up here above it with a parachute and a protector and the nose cone. Look at that, just magically fit inside here. Dual deploy. This will be the lower deploy section, which will just pump this thing off and act as a drag until the main chute opens at the altitude. Now, what else do we need? Well, I think we need one to make sure we can put it together correctly. Since I've already made one mistake, let's make that appear. Now, this one was just the first prototype for this for me. I didn't even sand the fins. You can see that they're really rough. The fins did not meet the fin can stub here. They kind of stood off from it because they were made for another rocket. But this is the engine mount. It goes up in there, and you can see that it's got that white tube. These are screwed onto the bottom of this long tube. And you got 3 fins. They're canted at, I think, 6 degrees, somewhere between 3 and 6. I don't remember which way I did it, but it don't make a lot of difference, 3 or 6. You just get a little stability spin going. The rail buttons are printed onto it. Got a lot of it in here. So then you come up to the next thing, which is the separation point here for the upper section. And that will come loose on the ejection charge. There's no parachute in here, it's just a shock cord. The flight computer is sitting right here with a battery lead sticking out, and when it's flown it will be taped to it. And then this upper section has got an injection charge with a parachute and the nose cone. Okay, I was missing a few parts the last recording, so I had to conjure them up as well, and it's 3 parts. So let's look at the first one. Okay, this is the second body tube joiner with the same thing. It's got the big old bar in there, and I think that's probably a little different design, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, this is the other end of that tube. And then I never could get the fin stub can long enough, so hopefully I've got it long enough now, and we'll snap that thing into existence. Like boom. Now look at there, and it's orange too. Ain't that something? So this is the tail end of the rocket. This is the further tail end of the rocket, so this would just fit on there, just like that. It's already got the rail buttons on it, and there'd be like 3 screws that hold it in place. The only thing that would be in this would be the engine. And you can see that the fins, other than some leftover from the printing, fit there just nicely. It'd be like at least 2 on each side, maybe 3, but more likely 2 and then offset by 2 for the fins. And this can does have the, I think you can see it there maybe, the 3 to 6 degree sweep to get the spin as it's under power. And sometimes these cans have to be doctored a little bit so they're big enough for the tube to fit in there without binding up. And that's what we got right there. Just really good for the 120 millimeter, I think it is. Anyway, the little bit over 4-inch one. And there's a tight spot down in there where some of the support was, I guess. And then for the shorter engine, of course he fits in there, and even though it's not extending past the thing, the flame front would be completely away from the fins, and the other dynamo objective is to get this thing out. So this is more likely the engine that'll be flown with. So, you know, I hadn't made any of these in a little bit, so I may have forgot how to make them. I think they were a number 18 with less fuel and a smaller core. This one was 3/4 inch core with a number 18 nozzle, and it come out to be a G70. This one's more like a small G or a large F. Alright, so then we'll get rid of that, and we got all of the components except for one thing. And you can't have dual deployment without, okay, you can't have the missing last component of the rocket, which is kind of the reason for the season, as they say. So, all right, so there we have the combination of myself and the excellent effort by George over at Rotary Rocketry that did the user interface for it. And it's a very simple dual deploy, Now it could be made smaller possibly, but this is the circuit card that I have right now. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, 5 and 3, 8 resistors. 5 of them are the same value, 3 of them are the same value. You got the D1 chip that's got the program in it, and this is the altimeter. And these about anywhere from a ½ inch, quarter to a ½ inch hole to the atmosphere, so it can get the altitude and know what to do. And then you got two FETs that fire the 2 different channels, the drogue and the main chute. And then this is where they connect, right here. There'll be one common, which is the C, and one for the D for the drogue, and then M for the main, obviously. And then a 3.7 single cell LiPo battery, somewhere between 500 and 850 milliamperes. And there's a little switch right here. I don't know where you can see it or not. Something point to it right there. When you say, hey, that's not a switch. No, it's not, because I don't want to switch on mine. But if you want to be able to physically disable it and enable it from outside the rocket, that's where the switch would connect. I don't have any need to do that, but I did put that on there for the people that want to be a lot safer than having it shorted out so it's on all the time when the battery's plugged in. You can't be safe enough with these things. We had some issues early on, and I had a loose component. The rocket had done a nose in, and it didn't break the resistor loose, but it snapped the lead, and it was not connected, but you couldn't see it unless you grabbed hold of it and moved it. Well, I didn't know it wasn't connected, and it just happened to be the resistor that keeps this FET turned off. So, with that being the case, when I plugged the battery in, this FET is already on. It's got an igniter and an ejection charge, and there's one of my videos that showed it just smart enough not to have my face over it, but it did scare me. I stepped back because it went off as soon as I plugged the battery in. So that's the reason that maybe to be completely safe, so you can make sure there's no body parts over or around the nose cones or the rear or any of the ejection charges, that you'd want to get yourself clear and then turn the switch on at the last moment, which would activate this wonderful dual deploy device. I've spent a lot of time working on it. George and I spent a lot more time working on it, and so we got the card's going to be this bright red, and I'll have to come up with a good name for it. I did some fine tuning on it, and I was having trouble with flying the BT-70s with a E12 zero in them, Estes motor, and the rocket's not really heavy, but the E12, E6, E96, E12, they're not the most powerful engines in the world, and so it was a really slow ascent. And the flight computer was missing the apogee and deploying before the apogee. So I changed the complete way that the computer looks at that event, and so far it's been almost spot on. You know, it's not going to catch it right at the foot of the apogee, or the inch, but it's going to catch it within 10 or 12 feet of it. You don't want it early, but you don't want it way late. When the rocket turns ballistic, then you get a zip cord going on. All right, well, enough with that thing.